In this video, we're going to talk about how to solve equations that have variables on both sides of the equation. To solve equations with variables on both sides, we follow the same steps and use the same properties as when we solve 1- and 2-step equations. The mission is still to isolate the variable, and we must still use the reverse order of operations. Variables can be added or subtracted on both sides, just like constants. Remember, constants are terms that don't include any variables. They're numbers only. Try to move all the variables to one side and all of the constants to the other side of the equation. And remember to always check your solution. Alright, so for example, we have 6 minus 7k is equal to 1 minus 8k. And I'm going to try to move all the variables to one side and all the constants to the other. It doesn't matter which one goes to the left and which one goes to the right. We just want to make sure that all the variables are on one side and all the constants are on the other. So I'm going to move the variables first. Notice I have a minus 8k here. So in order to cancel out a minus 8k, I'm going to need a plus 8k. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. Notice I line up the k's. It really helps here if you actually line up the terms when you're adding and subtracting. Alright, so I have negative 8k, positive 8k, those two cancel, and I'm left with 1. On this side over here, I still have my 6, I'm going to drop that down, and a negative 7k plus an 8k is going to give me a 1k, or just a k. Negative 7, positive 8, remember when we combine like terms, we just add the coefficients. That's all you're doing here is combining like terms. So negative 7, positive 8 is a 1, and that 1 is understood. So we don't need to write 1. And then at this point, I'm going to move all the constants to the other side. So I'm going to subtract a 6, subtract a 6. Those two cancel. And I have k is equal to negative 5. Go back and check my work. So I'm going to plug in negative 5 everywhere I see a k. So I have 6 minus 7 times negative 5 is equal to 1 minus 8 times negative 5. And then I'm going to simplify both sides of that equation. So here I have 6 plus minus a negative. Let's see, or 2, sorry, times the negative is a positive. So 6 plus 35 equals 1. Negative 8 times negative 5 is a positive 40. So I end up with 41 is equal to 41, and my solution checks out. A couple more examples, 2 more to be exact on the other side here. I have 15 plus 5b minus 4b equals 1 plus 6b. Notice that I have some like terms here on the left. First thing I want to do is make sure I combine them. So I have 15, a positive 5b minus a 4b. Again, you add their coefficients. Positive 5 and negative 4 is a positive 1b, or just b. And then I can go ahead and solve. Notice this one is a little bit easier if I just subtract 1b from both sides. I don't end up with any negative variables if I solve it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract b from both sides. Notice I'm lining up my b's again. These two are going to cancel. So I'm left with 15 is equal to 1 plus, and then 6b minus b is going to give me 5b. Then I need to get rid of the constants, or move them all to the left. So I have all my variables on the right. All the constants are going to go to the left. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And then, so 15 minus 1 is 14. These two cancel, so that 14 is equal to 5b. I'm going to use my division property of equality here. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So my final answer is 14 over 5 is equal to b. And then I can use that symmetric property and rewrite this as b is equal to 14 over 5. So again, symmetric property says this and this are both equal. It doesn't matter the order you write it, and you can flip around the equal sign. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and do my check. This one is going to be a little bit trickier because I have a fractional answer. So I have 15 plus 5 times 14 over 5 minus 4 times 14 over 5 is equal to 1 plus 6 times 14 over 5. So notice I start all the way back with the same equation, and I just replace b with my answer. So here, this is going to be 15 plus 14. Notice when I multiply and divide by 5 at the same time, this cancels out. Minus, put my 4 over 1 to multiply fractions and multiply straight across. So that's going to give me 4 times 14, 56 over 5, equals 1 plus, put the 6 over 1, 6 times 14 is 84 over 5. Okay, I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to put all my fifths on that side, and that'll make the simplifying a little bit easier. So I can add, for addition property of equality, 56 plus 5 to both sides. And when I do that, I'm left with 15 plus 14 is equal to 1 plus 84 plus 56 is 140 over 5. Excuse me, 140 divided by 5 gives me 28. So I have 15 plus 14 is equal to 1 plus 28. That helped me clear out my fractions a little bit. And then I have 29 is equal to 29. So the properties of equality, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division work for numbers just the same way as they would when you're solving an equation. And it can kind of make life a little bit easier. You don't have to convert all of these things to fifths and add all the fractions together and go from there. All right, last example. I have 6 plus x is equal to 8 plus 3x minus 2. So I'm going to start by moving all of the variables to one side and all the variables to the other. I'm going to first combine these like terms. I have a positive 8 and a negative 2. So I have 6 plus x is equal to 8 minus 2 is 6 plus 3x. I'm going to go ahead and move all the variables to the left just so we can see what would happen there. So I'm going to subtract a 3x from both sides. And when I do that, I have 6. A positive x minus a 3x is a negative 2x is equal to 6. Moving all the constants to the right, I would subtract a 6 and subtract a 6. Remember, this is a positive 6. I'm going to need to subtract a 6 in order to cancel that out. These two are going to go away. So I have negative 2x is equal to 0. No problem. Division property of equality says I can divide both sides by negative 2. And I'm going to have x is equal to 0. Really quick, do your check. So I have 6 plus 0 is equal to 8 plus 3 times 0 minus 2. 6 plus 0 is equal to 8. 3 times 0 is 0 minus 2. So I have 6 is equal to 6, and everything checks out.